Good evening, friends. Stephen Ben-Nun here with Israeli News Live on our Patreon channel. And I told you I was going to talk a little bit about Planet X this evening, and I have not really put everything together yet on Planet X. Some of the things I wanted to talk to you about. But I did bring up Mr. MBB333, his channel here, because he did publish, he's actually done this twice now. About a week ago, he published where two different people sent in videos for him. Definitely not what you call refractions. And in fact, I'm going to show you what refractions are just from when the videos are playing here that he shows there. But these are very compelling. And of course, I have heard quite often that Planet X, when it does become visible, is going to be impossible to hide. I have heard different ideas of it coming from him behind the sun, etc. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to make of it here. But what I do want to also get into this evening with you is Mike from around the world. In this video here with Paul Bagley, I've got Daily Excellent, his program where it's plays here. We're going to play some clips here for you. It's talking about some entities that are coming in the not so distant future that are pretty much going to basically do a shock and awe and convince the world of their religious side. They're going to be bringing out ancient documents from the Vatican. They're going to really try to prove their case there. What I do appreciate that Mike says in here is he doesn't believe them. He doesn't believe them to be godly whatsoever. And as a result of that, I'm going to play for you where I've already shared this information with you 8 months ago when I talked about Ra, the sun god, and they're speaking with the U.S. government, trying to, I got the first information on that and how that they're going to try to convince the world that they were the ones that they sent Jesus, they sent Muhammad, all kinds of things. Going to play some of that for you here. In fact, that's only been on Patreon. I thought I'd made this public before, but I guess I did not, because I still have it as unlisted on my Stephen Ben-Nun channel. By the way, those of you that don't know, I do have a channel called Stephen Ben-Nun on YouTube, 10,000 subscribers there. You might want to join over there. That's normally where I host the videos here for our Patreon channel, and occasionally I make some of those public as well so you can see them yourself. We're going to be looking at that there. Also want to look a little bit about where Barry Chamish, I consider Barry a friend, and Barry had been on our program before on Israeli News Live. In fact, here we wrote the article when he passed away, included one of the interviews I'd done with Barry there. Barry lived just north of me there when I was down in Fort Myers there. He is certainly greatly missed. Very renowned journalist, and Barry also he spoke about the return of the giants. And when he talks about giants, we're not talking about 20-foot tall giants, but rather anywhere from 7 to 9 foot tall giants from 1993 to 1995, where that happened in Israel. And Barry was an investigative journalist. Who Killed Yitzhak Rabin? He is very famous for writing that book there. And Barry has told me a lot about the story there about the Rabin assassination. In fact, the reason Barry had to live in Florida was because he had been there had been 2 attempts on his life while he was in Israel for exposing these things. And Barry was just, him and Joel Bannerman, both men lost their lives. In fact, Barry, right before he passed away, told me, he said, "Steve, I think they're trying to take me out again." And he said, "I don't expect to be here much longer." And then sure enough, the next thing I know, he allegedly dies of a heart attack. So I'm still very suspicious about that myself, whether or not that really happened to him. Let's get started, though. I want to just take you here to Mr. MBB333. And definitely, you might want to subscribe to his channel there. He does some incredible work, always tries to really weed out things, doing his own investigation to see if they're really true or not. So I really appreciate that about Mr. MBB333 on his program there. Let's take a look at what he has right here. By the way, remember when I talk about refractions? Right there on your screen, you see that light right there? That's the refraction on a screen. So when you're taking images during the daytime and you're taking pictures of the sun, and you may not see that jumping around on your camera, but when you take that picture, that thing may be still sitting up there in the sky somewhere. And like in this case here, if I were to take and just do a still shot, and send it to you. And I'll just give you a good idea here how that would work. Let's just say I took that as a picture right there, right? And then I took and I send that to you. That you would think, well, wow, there's a planet there, and you'd think there's a planet there, and maybe even one right there, because it's a refraction from the lens. Now, in this case here with a video, it's easier to determine what's refraction, what's not, because as the camera is moving, the refraction is moving too because
no matter
of the movement
what
of the
I
lens.
do,
But that
second
is
light
not
doesn't
moving.
move.
Okay. Now look. Now the refractions are having quite a few different pieces in there, starting to turn and look like a winged type of shape there. If you watch movies on TV, a lot of times, especially when they're doing the camera showing outside and it catches the sun out of the corner of the camera, you'll see all those types of refractions, and a lot of times even that big round looking thing that looks like Planet X might be, with a small little dot like that in there, looks like a refraction. Or looks like a planet when it's actually only a refraction there. All right, in this case here, though, this girl here definitely has something beside the sun. It's not moving, so therefore we know it's not a refraction. All right, she's in Ohio. Now the next one is going to be Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, California.
See this. I don't care what nobody say. This is live. You see the little green ball bouncing around on my camera? Don't even worry about that. Look up here in my sky. Look. Look. What is that? They don't expect nobody to look directly at the sun.
That little green ball is the refraction on the lens.
What is that? You can't tell me that that's not 3 planets in the sky right there. Look at this. Look at this. I'm not talking about the green light bouncing around. I'm talking about live on my camera. Look at this. What is that? It's moving. That's the sun to the left, something else beside it to the right, and then there's another planet right there to the right beside it. It is 6:52 in the morning in Los Angeles, California. Anybody with the iPhone camera, any camera can see this with yourself, with your own eyes. Look at this. Look at this.
So that just, these are very compelling images, and quite frankly, I don't know what to tell you about it. Maybe there is something to it. All right, let's get over here. I want to jump back over here. This is Mike from Around the World on Paul Begley's program there. He's there every Friday night. And Pastor Anthony there has permission from I think from Paul Begley as well, but I know from Mike from Around the World to be able to publish his work. Let's listen into here on this broadcast here.
Experts and people who act like they knew this for a long time, that they knew it was coming, this, that, and the other. And they're going to take control of that conversation, but even they're going to be baffled because the people themselves are coming forward. Now, how does that finish? How's that going to fit into?
Are you saying whistleblowers are coming forward from some of these hidden agendas or
well, not whistleblowers.
Budgets?
No, not whistleblowers.
The actual entities or different groups of people or different entities?
Different people, inhabitants, whatever you want to call them.
All right.
Faraway immigrants, whatever you want to call them. They're going to be among the people every day, all day, right? Every day, all day.
Are you saying from other planets? Are you saying people?
The nature of things here on this earth and what people know is gonna be changed. It's not going to be the glory picture everybody thinks. It's going to be a true paradigm
Hybrids?
shift, something that is just going to be one of those situations.
Nephilim?
You know what? If you look, I'd lean more towards
transhumanism.
Well, no, not that.
Okay.
It's beyond mankind, really. It really is. It's beyond mankind. The Vatican is in coordination with the same timeline, right?
Oh, yes.
The same timeline.
Okay.
That's why they're talking about the Vatican archives.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they start talking about the Vatican archives, all for no reason, right? And then you have the UAP disclosure in the USA. Everybody was waiting for the USA to see what would happen. So they have this guy come forward talking about the UAPs, but then they try to come back behind him and discredit him.
Let me move it a little bit more forward here because I want you to see where Mike is against these entities that are coming. And he seems to indicate there's a whole bunch of them coming. Listen in.
And it really takes old experts who had the right picture, right, but couldn't prove the science. It takes them and it throws them in the back corner somewhere.
Wow.
A simple change in the word UFO to UAP, right?
Yeah.
A simple change in the word aliens to EBE or EBINs or whatever you want to call them.
Right.
That simple change takes the old experts who really dug up everything and had beautiful theories that were right on the money in a lot of cases. It takes them and their books and their writings and everything else, and it cancels it. And so you have a brand new group of people who come forward, right, who start talking about this stuff again, but with a new audience. Right.
I see.
Like I said before, a long time ago, you remember I said they're going to come out. The government has to save face. So they're going to come out like they already knew about this stuff. So everything is being cataloged right now.
I got it.
Everything is being cataloged.
Is part
this passball, they have to get ready because they've been given a timeline too.
Okay.
And people are about to see a very
by the
real
way, is
picture
the time frame
of what's going to happen. But I'll say it again. The Bible is the blueprint, is your best informative
I appreciate
source.
this
Right now,
about
the
what Mike
best
says
true
here.
source.
I really
And if
do.
anybody else goes to another source, they're highly deceived and will be deceived, right? And when you see things in front, if somebody saw something in front of their faces interacting with them, that doesn't mean you believe everything they say.
I see.
I believe the biblical narrative.
Amen.
I know that these things are liars, but they just won't seem like that to everybody else, and they're not going to appear the way people think they are. No, it will be shock and awe, right? It'll be shock and awe. And they will seem like that they're, man's brothers or whatever the case is.
Okay. Man's brothers. Listen.
Are we talking about the angels of light?
Paul's trying his best to get the answer out of Mike, but let me kind of share with you some of the information I shared 8 months ago. Those extraterrestrial beings is going to claim that he is Ra, that he is the Egyptian god Ra. And you want to talk about some confusion that's going to be coming. He's, also the creation story that they have is that they're going to speak about how that the humans were created as bioweapon slaves. And then even worse is that Ra has a different story when it comes to the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Watch this. And that different story has a lot to do with the Jewish people weren't so responsible for his death in the first place. It's basically going to be an inclusive faith, an inclusive religion. And they have been working on this for a long time.
Make sure they exonerate the Jews.
They're working on trying to figure out how to hurdle over the issue with the cross. And the entities have, as I've been told, they have thought this all out. And but one of the things that was shared with me in this information the other day was that talk about the scripture where it says, people being confused, and that's actually going to the scripture where it talks about how that, that the very elect could be deceived. And what he's implying is that the story can be so believable, the way they're going to lay this out, so believable that if it wasn't for the Heavenly Father, people would be deceived. And we're going to go much deeper into this. I have a meeting coming up very soon, and I'm going to be getting more of this information about what's going on. But I wanted to be able to share this with you now. The entity, one of the entities of the extraterrestrials, fallen angels, is claiming that he's Ra, the Egyptian god Ra. And they are going to be bringing an inclusive faith and religion. They will claim that they brought Jesus, that they will claim to the Muslims they sent Muhammad, etc. They'd be so close, it deceives. They're going to tell the people that they tried to get us set up going on the right direction, but we messed it all up. that it's basically our fault that we're in the condition we're in. And they're going to say that there are saviors of this world. They're going to talk about the pyramids. They're going to tell you how that the pyramids actually produce electricity. And they do. That is true. They actually do produce electricity. You can basically drive your car down the road if it's an electric car and it'll charge from the air itself. They're going to tell you how that you could have free electricity. They're going to come in here and they're going to have the ability to heal you of the diseases. In fact, that's one of the reasons why these diseases are being put out right now on the people. And they're going to put out worse ones and everything, because this is the whole thing. They're going to be the ones that have the cure for everything. So there's a lot of things that could be said about those things there, but we had already brought this information out 8 months ago. Twice I brought this out, shared with you the intel that I was getting on it. I'm really appreciative that Mike is bringing this out, and also that he's recognizing that this is not a good thing. And of course, the Vatican working with them, as I had pointed out to you. Israel will be exonerated. They'll basically try to, in fact, they actually have shown video footage of the crucifixion to people in the intelligence world in Washington. They've already shown them video footage of what the crucifixion actually was. Now, it could be manipulated for all we know, but and no doubt will be. But that's supposed to be what helps exonerate the Jews of his death. So, I mean, this is getting pretty strange, pretty quick, without a doubt. Now, speaking of tech aliens and things like that, let me share with you as well. Barry Chamish, the late Barry Chamish, and speaking in here, Barry, I'm going to play a little clip here where he talks about, he really believes he has to have real evidence, but he talks about 5 different cases of women, they're all 39 years old, seeing aliens 7 foot tall. And Barry has investigated every one of these. He knows this to be true. And then also one man that's seen one 9 foot tall. Listen in.
Opinion have had 7 indisputably documented close encounters. There are many more, but I like physical evidence. I'm really very tough about this. I want my little silicon shards, and I want my hand to turn red. I want a stink that I can't explain. I have very, very harsh rules of journalism when I investigate these things. So I found 7. Yet come on, 8.5 kilometers of tracks. That'll do.
That was the 9 foot tall giant that he speaks about there. When they came there, there were tracks that led away for 8 kilometers from the house where it was at. 35 centimeters is how deep the front part of the foot is. He says kind of like the creature walked on its toes, so to speak. At 9 foot tall, he said, but they estimated that he would have to weigh nearly a ton to be able to put that deep of an imprint into the ground. He said the police tried to write it off, the Israeli authorities tried to write it off as just being a camel. He said, but the problem is a camel with boots. How are you going to solve it with that? Let's listen into a couple of these real quick.
She argues a bit. She says, you hurt my dog. He says, I can hurt you too, but I don't feel like it. This alien was a thug. You've got no fantastic messages of wisdom from these aliens. They told her to get lost and they meant business. So there's a TV show on in Israel. You just have too many giants running around. The country wants to have the answer. So they have a TV show with Shosh and Yehud and a few ufologists. And to the utter shock of the announcer, the audience believes that there's giants running around the country. People phone. 2 more women. Clara Kahanov from Cholon and Batya Shimon from Rishon LeZion. Now we're away from Kadima. We have a new access form just south of Tel Aviv. Cholon, Rishon LeZion, and I'll show you in 1 second what that's all about. I phone up Clara Kahanov, and she says, yes, it was a giant. I don't want to be publicized, but you're... Same thing. Round-headed, bald, giant. Same thing. Batya Shimon was much more forthcoming. I've had many, many conversations with her. Batya Shimon had a wonderfully ridiculous experience. 3 in the morning, in come 2 aliens. She's not on a ground floor. She's on a 5th floor apartment. In they come. And as usual, they telepathically tell her, you're not going to be afraid. We're not here to harm you. She believes them. She thinks they have a pleasant face. She likes them. They roam around her apartment dusting shelves with a foul-smelling sulfuric material of some kind. One of them goes into her son's bedroom and sees the aquarium. Son has an aquarium. Gets all excited in some alien way. This one is also floating on his feet upright. Calls over his pal. They go into the bedroom. They both start pointing at these fish. They're very excited about these fish. They've had enough. Out they go. Next night, the whole gang comes in. 12 of them. One after another, floating in the apartment. They're walking around. They're dusting. They're picking things up. They're looking at it. They thank her. They go like this. Out they go. Now, not that these are friendly people. Just so you understand, Batya and Hana, I've spoken to them many times since. They're haunted. Wherever they go, their voices are called, their names are called. Both reported pregnancies that disappeared. They couldn't understand these pregnancies. Who knows what happened to them? But only Tziporet is happy about this particular phenomena in their lives. Batya's aliens were 7 feet tall,
If you notice,
round,
7 foot tall.
bald, round-eyed, no nose, barely a nose, metallic clothing. They're all the same. Now, needless to say, statistically, what are you going to do? You got now 5 women. They don't know each other. They are all the same age, 39. Go figure that one out. They're all white-collar workers. There seems to be some genetic basis for all this.
This happened in Israel, 1993 to 1995, and then it mysteriously all stopped. Now, if you notice, though, too, he mentioned about the women having pregnancies that just mysteriously ended. And, of course, a lot of those happen like that. We know that these women are abducted, they're taken out, their memories are wiped. The babies, they're only normally pregnant for about 3 months. The baby is removed, and then from different information that I've been told over the years there, the baby is then finished being incubated and then goes to live with the aliens because the baby is half alien, half human. Kind of sounds like the Nephilim that we read about in the Bible, where the fallen angels sleep with the women and create the children by them and end up with giants on the earth. Who knows what the heck is coming next? All I know is it's getting stranger and stranger. And then, of course, we see this thing about Planet X. Is it really true that that's Planet X coming from behind the sun? I don't really have the answer to that. I do know there's a celestial body out there. I've been told about that. I've not been told that it was Planet X. But I have been told the celestial body that's out there is wreaking havoc on the earth as far as because of what is the effects that it's having on the sun, which in turn are having effects here on the earth. And those effects there soon will also be greeted by entities that will be coming from that celestial body. And I have been told over and over and over that 2026, though, is still the time frame of when these entities will actually come to Earth. Now, could it be sooner? Could be, I don't know, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live here on our Patreon channel. Good evening and God.